Nigeria's lawmakers are still reviewing the proposed 2025 budget, which is estimated at 49.7 trillion naira. This means it may not be passed into law until next month. Economists have criticized the delay in passing the budget as Nigeria begins the 2025 fiscal year without an approved appropriation bill. The Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, had earlier proposed plans to introduce a bill extending last year's budget into June this year. It was said that the Nigerian government ran 2 budgets in 2024 and could potentially repeat the same in 2025, leaving many Nigerians wondering if the government cares about the impact of fiscal indiscipline on investment prospects and economic growth. To unpack this, I am joined by Muktar Mohammed, CEO, FinanceWithMuktar, and Oladipo Ajayi, Head of Fixed Income, Chapel Hill Denham. They're both joining me from Lagos. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Right now, we're going to go first to Muktar, and I'll start by saying Nigeria has recently experienced a disruption to its budget cycle. First of all, talk us through what the best practice is when it comes to implementing a budget.
Well, thank you for having me and the compliment of the season of Happy New Year. It all depends on it's just like a company. Every company determines where it should be its year end, unless when you have a regulator that will insist that a particular month becomes your year end. So for Nigeria, I think they've chosen January to be the beginning of the year and December to be their year end. And if you have done that, just like a company, that means you have to keep to it. If you, in some instance, like company, they want an extension. The extension is no more than 3 months. And that doesn't mean that extension means cover up. What it means is that they are waiting for 3 months to present their, excuse me, they are waiting in the next 3 months to present the last audited report of the last year. Not that the last year is running concurrently with the new year, no. So I think, like you said in your report, is our lack of physical discipline for us to continue to try to play around with the months of our budget. But again, like I said, have this really worked for Nigeria? If you look at it, have we really been able to do thorough looking through the budget before they are passed into law? Because when you want to pass a budget in January, then that means the president should present that budget sometime in September, giving the legislation almost 4 months to scrutinize that budget. A situation whereby you present the budget in December, you expect it to be passed immediately. That does not show due diligence, especially in a country like ours where we know that there's a lot of challenges, a lot of padding when it comes to budgets. So for me, I think January to December hasn't worked for Nigeria. So we must begin to think of what works for us instead of running concurrent budget every year. Okay. So for me, I think that's what we do.
Thank you for explaining it so succinctly and for the layman to understand. So talk us through what the implication of running or implementing the budget the way we have done it in the last 2 years is on the price of Gari, I would like to say. How does it affect the everyday Nigerian?
Of course it does. Number one, you've seen that in the rate of the exchange rate. Because of the kind of budget we've been running, we've not been able to maintain fiscal discipline. We've seen that in legislations, allowances, and expenditure, especially recurrent expenditure. So with that, also that has not helped us also as a country to be able to have money to do other capital projects because you are running a lot of recurrent expenditure, just like running 3 recurrent expenditure almost at the same time. Definitely you will not have money for capital projects. That means you will not be able to build infrastructures. And so we are seeing that with the decay in terms of our infrastructure. And also for the price of Gari, like you have said, when you don't have physical discipline, you're not able to plan, and then you're not able to intervene in critical areas that bring down the cost of living, social investment like in healthcare, like in education. So all that has a negative impact, and it trickles down to buying and selling also. So for me, that also is very, very critical. When we don't do that again, it affects our budget, especially a country like ours that depends so much in importation of goods. That affects our exchange rate, because in one budget you say exchange rate is 800, then you're not running on that budget, you say exchange rate is 1,400. Right. You will run on that budget. So those are having negative impact on our economy.
Before I let you go, there are rumors that the reason why our lawmakers are delaying the passage of the 2025 budget is because they want to pass the tax reform bill so that they can add it. Please explain to our viewers what that means and if that is true.
Well, if it's a rumor, I mean, nobody have come out to authenticate it and said, oh, it is true or it's a rumor. And when you see government is silent about any issue, then definitely, you know, there must be a part of truth in that. Now, why I will agree with it is that that budget also is tied towards the tax reform bill, because a lot of profit, I mean, a lot of funding, a lot of funding that will fund that budget is going to be coming from that tax reform bill, especially in the area of value added tax, in the area of taxation. So once that bill is not passed into law, definitely that means the tax reform bill is not passed. It is, I mean, if you pass the budget without the tax reform bill, that means the current deficit of 13 trillion will increase, because most of the projects that are tied to that tax reform revenue will not see the light of the day. Definitely, I totally agree, because if you look at the budget expenditure and also where funds are expected to fund some of these projects, realize some of them have to come from the tax reform bill. Right. So definitely there's an atom of truth in that. If that is anything to go by, if you look at that budget, definitely that could just be why the budget is being delayed.
Well, thank you so much for your thoughts. Muktar Mohammed, CEO of Finance with Muktar. Thank you so much for joining us from Lagos. We apologize to our viewers. We're not able to bring in Oladipo Ajayi, but we promise we'll be bringing his thoughts to you throughout our bulletins subsequently.